Hey there, you guys. Happy 2026. It's Charles and Z,
Hey.
and I know we haven't checked in with you guys in a while, and it's been my fault. Um, I've been doing other things, other hobbies, and maybe I'll talk about them sometime, but I've been not producing our videos, so you can blame me for that.
Yes, I have to give Charles a credit. He put some time in editing and actually uploading the videos, and life has just been lifing with the holidays and our three kiddos and work and getting back into the groove of things. We're building a home. Charles has really honed in on his photography, and you'll probably have to share in some upcoming videos, some of your photos. He's actually really, really good.
I've been having a lot of fun. I've been developing my own film and stuff,
Yeah.
but anyway, that's the
Life
reason.
has been life in. Yes.
And I've just been irresponsible too.
Okay.
But so today, we want to talk to you guys about something we want to talk about for a little bit,
Yes.
and it is how, on a daily basis, you need to disconnect from things, from current events, in order to keep your sanity and be happy. Um, we've noticed last year and coming into the end, especially to the end of last year, that if we follow current events, if we read the news, however you get the news, whether it's Google algorithm, your Google news feed, or if it's you read on social media, on Instagram, Facebook, wherever you get your news, if you're digesting it constantly, and if you're seeing all the stuff that gets put out there, at least for us, we tend to get very depressed, and it really, really, really reduces our quality of life. And so something that we've been making a concerted effort to do is to unplug a little bit. And I'll let Z talk a little bit about that, about what she's doing and why, and kind of what she's seen, maybe with even some patients and stuff
Yeah,
that's been
yeah.
bothering them.
And so, even starting with myself, Charles kind of touched on this a bit. The beginning of last year, I found myself starting off the day just really low, and I think it trickled into my work, my motivation or energy for work or interacting with others. And I started to think, what is triggering this, right? I started to exercise more. So I was taking care of my body a bit more. But then I realized one of the first things I would do in the morning is have a look at the news. And don't get me wrong, I want to be an informed citizen and be aware of what's going on in the world around me. But I realize first thing in the morning, looking at the news and seeing maybe some really graphic or traumatic videos was detrimental to my mood, right? And sometimes there's world events you don't have any control over, right? At least for myself, I try to be a good person. I try to pour back into my community, into my kids. I try to support the causes that I believe in, but certain things you just don't have control over. And looking at the news first thing in the morning, a lot of times subconsciously, I would kind of become or feel helpless, right? Or be angry at the world. And I realized that was not a way to live. I also saw this in my patients, right? A lot of times, my patients come in for anxiety, depression that I'm treating, or blood pressure issues. And it's one thing to treat the symptom, right? But a lot of times I try to get to what is the cause of all of this. So I ask them, is there any social changes, marital issues, are your children okay? Is work a stressor? And I found that a good amount of patients would say, well, I think it's what's going on in the world. Like, I'm looking at the news daily and, it's making me sad or, making me angry. And I would tell them, like, hey, I want you to be informed, but I need you to turn off the news on a regular basis because now, your blood pressure is suffering, you're not sleeping. And now now we're talking about taking medications or getting you into counseling when I think there could be a simple change in your daily regimen. And so I use that same advice for myself. And I've noticed now that I proceed as far as the news with a great amount of caution, meaning I don't look at it first thing in the morning. I may tune in to a news website maybe once a week or twice a week. I found that my mood is so much better. Now, don't get me wrong, I want to be aware about things that are going on in the world, but your major events, I'm going to become aware of, right? There's people talking around me. My phone still has little headlines that will pop up as far as notifications. So if there was an atomic bomb to go off somewhere, I would be aware of the major things. I just don't need to be tuned into every graphic detail, every hour of the day. I don't know what your thoughts are in regards to that.
Yeah, the most aggravating thing for me is to watch something and get angry about it and know that I have no control over it. Um, I try to be informed. I have opinions about things. I have opinions about events in our society. I have opinions about things that we should be doing.
Yeah.
I actively contribute to groups that are doing the things that I think need to be done. And so in that regard, I'm already doing what I feel is reasonable for me to do to make the change that I want to see. Now, there are people who are going out there and putting themselves in harm's way to try to make changes I would like to see.
Yeah.
And for me that's not reasonable, because I have a wife, I have kids, and I can't just pick up and fly somewhere and be in a protest or do I can't do that.
But you're doing what you can under your particular circumstance, right? In your
Right.
situation that you are in. Right?
But still, I see, if I look at the news, if I ingest the news every day, then I'll see, oh, this happened, I'll be
Yeah.
like, oh, I want to go do something about it, but I can't do anything about it. And that, I think, is what causes me anxiety. And so uh, I think we both started about the same time,
Yeah.
actively unplugging from the news. Now, as Z mentioned, if there's a really big thing, then you're going to hear about it word of
Yes.
mouth. You're going to, it's going to pop up somewhere.
Social media, there's just
Yeah.
so many avenues that it's gonna get to you somehow.
But I go out of my way on a daily basis to not see the news. So I was telling Z, I have an Android phone, and now one of the things that I did is I've gotten off of social media. Now, this was like last year. I deleted my Instagram. I deleted my Facebook.
Was it for this reason or?
Uh, it was for my feelings about the way the people that run those are aligning themselves with other forces in our society.
Okay.
Yeah. So it was for personal political reasons I deleted those.
Okay.
And so I don't have to worry about like seeing all this stuff on Instagram or on Facebook, but I have an Android phone, and the way that I do get news is through my Google news feed on my Google homepage, and whenever I create a new browser window in Chrome, which I have to do sometimes because that's how I, go to like my Outlook webmail, some other stuff. So sometimes I have to create a new window, and whenever I do that, it automatically pops up the news feed. So sometimes I'm gonna see things, but one of the things I've trained myself to, if I'm going to a web page that I know is going to post a news feed, that I intentionally don't look at it. I just go straight to the link at the top of the page that I mean to go to. The other thing is, on my Google, I'm able to, when I do go through the news feed, I'm able to groom it a little bit to be able to select what I want to see and what I don't want to see. So what I did about a month ago is went through and selected for all the big political things, not interested, and you can even go farther into it with settings, and you can say don't show me anything with this topic, and you can
Oh
actually
yeah.
select certain keywords, like, these are keywords that I don't want you to show me anything about
I didn't even know
those.
about the keywords. I've done things where, um, kind of what you're saying. Like sometimes when you click, for example, maybe I shouldn't say the social media site, but the one of these social media groups, and I think a lot of them work the same way as far as their algorithm. When you click on one headline, all of a sudden you get bombarded over and over with similar headlines. And I remember I clicked on one news article, and it was very traumatizing. It was intriguing, but it was a little traumatizing. And I realized I started getting bombarded with every other post now was with like similar headlines. And good thing I have this self-awareness. I'm like, oh, this is not good for my spirit. And so I clicked like not interested, but I wasn't aware that you can go in and do like key phrases, or that's actually really interesting to know. It's funny. I thought about this is a patient too that I had, and they were talking about the time they were spending with their kiddos, but they were so angry with what was going on with the world. And in my mind, I'm like, politics shouldn't be that. You should be aware and you should be passionate about things that you feel, but it shouldn't take away from enjoyment of time
Exactly.
with your kiddos, right? Um, and I just really, that was one of the moments I think for me that allowed me to do my own self reflection. I'm like, it should not be to this degree where you feel as if you, politics or these things that you can't necessarily control are taking away or stealing your joy, right? This is time you'll never get back spending with your children. And so I think for everybody, I think a lot of people are not aware of that. People talk about it here and there, but they don't realize how physically it affects you, or how it affects how you interact with even your children or your partner.
Hmm.
Because even with Charles, I'm going to say I really did notice the difference when you start to kind of tune yourself out from all of the news.
Oh
I
yeah, it
felt
became
like,
happy.
yeah, I felt like I would say the beginning of last year, I feel like everything was just, you're a lot more maybe irritable. I don't
Oh
want to say
yeah.
angry because he wasn't screaming, but I felt like just a lot more irritable. And even going out to like parks or doing daily things, it just became like, ah. And really and truly, not saying there's not a lot of bad stuff going on, but really and truly, there are people who just want to be good, just want to, want their kids to play together, and I think it's how we should treat our day to day. Be passionate about what you believe in, but you shouldn't wake up not grateful, in this world, and not wanting to start the day off being happy, right? I don't know if that makes sense how I described it. Does that
Yeah.
make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. I I found that when I don't watch the news, I'm a lot happier, and also that when I intentionally don't look at news stories that are trying to be presented to me, that I feel empowered.
Mm,
When I feel empowered, almost like when I've completed a work task that I didn't want to do, but I did it anyway.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
when I intentionally don't look at news stories and click away, it makes me feel very empowered. So yeah, so not for me, not looking at the news makes me happier, um, and I don't feel like I'm missing anything. I don't feel like I'm missing anything.
Yeah. Well, anyway, it was just one of our little thoughts that were going through our head. And we would love if you guys let us know down below. What are your thoughts about that? Have you been tuning out of the news less, or how do you cautiously approach taking in, information, right? Because you want to be informed, but at the same time, you want to protect your peace. So let us know if you have any thoughts or comments down below. And as always, don't forget to like and subscribe. We promise we're going to get back to being a little bit more consistent. Just
Yes,
life has been life in the past few weeks.
more house updates, we promise.
Yes, definitely look forward to more house updates. On that note, we will talk to you guys later.